Hello and welcome back to another session of Free Streaming School. As you can see, if you hear any noise in and around, we've got three little monkeys to do homeschooling with. So today we'll be making a clock in between this part of the lesson while Mr. Sam Winch is back with us again to assist in another superb PE lesson. How are you, Sam? How's the day going, buddy?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Day's good so far. Nice and early start to this Tuesday morning, and we're ready to go with some more physical education tutorial.
Do you ever find it ironic that you're teaching so much physical education without actually being outside?
Yeah, it's difficult, but that one piece of exercise I do a day, I'll make sure I really milk it and try and make it last for a couple of hours at least.
What did you do this time? A triathlon?
Yeah, I wish. No, I haven't done anything actually this morning, so I'm going to wait till later on this afternoon. I think it gets a little bit warmer because it's a bit chilly out there, although it's beautiful sunshine.
It's beautiful here, buddy. It's absolutely beautiful by the coast. I can't wait when we can go out, because we just moved here. We can go out, and it's near the beach. So I'm going to go and pretend to swim, or at least watch swimmers. Vicarious exercise. Brilliant, buddy. It's all yours. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Cheers, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Physical Education. Today we're going to do a quick recap of what we went through over the last few weeks, which was components of fitness. Of course, that's a huge part of the EdXL PE GCSE exam. Remember the two exams, one that will feature heavily with components of fitness and fitness testing, which is what we're going to go on to today. That links nicely with the components of fitness. So we'll start off with a quick recap. Misha, you can share my screen, please.
All right, cool.
And on here, you should see my PowerPoint on the quick recap. So we spoke about reaction time last week, strength, power, and body composition. So reaction time is the time between the presentation of a stimulus and movement. And of course, the sporting example we used for this would be a boxer. Strength is the maximum force a muscle or group of muscles can apply against a resistance. And strength would be used, of course, in multiple amount of different sports. A good sportsman, such as a weightlifter, would need good strength. Power is a combination of strength and speed. Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, needs power to get his shots off. A cricket player will need good power when batting to get shots over the boundaries. And then finally, body composition, which is a percentage of body weight, which is fat, muscle, or bone. That's the one component of fitness that isn't tested anymore. However, it's still important for you to know this body composition, as you could use a sporting example such as a wrestler or a marathon runner, because the heavier you are, the lighter you are, will affect your performance positively or negatively, of course. Okay, so that's a quick recap. Just a reminder of the 11 components of fitness, and we'll be covering 10 of them today in terms of the fitness tests that come with that component of fitness. But I want to start off with telling you what we're going to look at today. So the fitness testing for all components. Then we're going to cover the considerations when carrying out the tests. So in your exam, you must be able to talk about the advantages and disadvantages, as well as the reliability and the validity of those tests, as well as the limitations and the pros and cons of each test. We'll start with a quick video which will help link the components of fitness to the fitness tests. So some of these fitness tests you'll see are in the EdXL exam. Some of them are not, but hopefully you can have a look and see what you think. We'll just go through the answers on the screen now. Just turn down that wonderful song. So you had the CV fitness with the bleep test. Then we covered coordination and strength. Strength's obviously used in a different way now with the grip dynamometer test. You had the agility Illinois test, which we'll go through later on. The flexibility sit and reach. Balance, which we use a little bit different. We go with the Stalk test, the Stalk standing test, and you've got muscular endurance and power. Okay, so that's just a quick video of different fitness tests that come with different components of fitness. So it's important now that you can start recognising, first of all, the component of fitness and the fitness test that comes with it. Okay, so fitness testing. Once fitness test results are collected, as you can see on the screen, they need to be interpreted against a set of published standardised readings, like the ones in the tables we looked at before. So this one was for the amount of sit-ups you could do in 1 minute, and then grade yourself from poor to excellent. And on the use of test data, I've just got a little bit here that talks about the fitness tests which provide data. They're compared to normative scores. These normative scores are indicators of how the participant has performed in comparison to the general population. So it will be taken from schools across the nation, and that's where you get your score for PE GCSE. Okay, good. 3 things we need to be aware of when considering fitness tests is validity, reliability, and practicality. So these 3 words will come up in your GCSE exams. In fact, I think I have an example on the next page. We'll come back to that. So, for example, they might ask, is the Stalk standing test reliable for someone that wants to be a gymnast, for example? So the Stalk standing test is testing balance. Is it a reliable fitness test for a gymnast? Well, of course, they need to work on their balance, but they need to do it in different ways. They need to do dynamic balancing, static balancing. So the Stalk test doesn't always offer that reliability that a gymnast may need, because they're moving around and they're standing still, where the Stalk test is just simply standing still. So reliability is really important to be able to explain for each fitness test. Okay. So here's an example GCSE question related to fitness testing. It says select the 2 most appropriate fitness tests from those shown below to measure Janet's current level of cardiovascular fitness. So you've got the Cooper 12-minute run, you have the Illinois agility run test, you have a 30-meter sprint, and you've got the Harvard step test. Just for two marks. To select 2 of them, of course, we know the Cooper's 12-minute run and the Harvard step test both test cardiovascular fitness, and the Harvard step test, as well as cardiovascular fitness, would perhaps test your muscular endurance. It says it in the name, Illinois agility, it's test agility, and the 30-meter sprint tests speed, of course. So that'll be a 2-mark question. And another example, again, this will be for 2 marks, stating and explaining. It asks, Imran plays for the school football team. At the start of the season, the team undergo a series of fitness tests. In the table below, state the most relevant fitness test and explain why this fitness test is relevant. So in football, of course, the Illinois agility run, you've got the hand grip strength test and the standing stalk test. So you would think that, again, static balance probably isn't very important for a football player. Strength is needed, of course, for football, but the hand grip strength test, the grip dynamometer as we know it, would only test certain parts of the body as opposed to the legs and the lower part of the body. It only tests the forearm and that arm that you're working with. The Illinois agility run is a valid test, because of course it tests your full agility, which is most important and most relevant for a football player, especially an outfield player. So an explanation as to why this fitness test will be relevant. As you can see here, it says this fitness test is the most relevant because it tests the ability to change direction with speed and control, which is required by a football player when dribbling between defenders. Now that's a excellent example. Not only does it define what agility is, the ability to change direction, but it also gives a sporting example of when it would be used and how it would benefit the sportsman. Okay, so we're going to go on to the first one of our fitness tests, which is strength. As we spoke about it already, it's the hand grip dynamometer. And here are the 4 rules related to the hand grip dynamometer. The first one is grip with the dominant hand. You apply maximum force while the arm is straight in front of the body. And you repeat 3 times while the teacher records the maximum force reading. Now, another key thing to note, sometimes the question comes up as to how is the test measured. So it might be the weight, it might be the speed, it might be the time, And of course, we measure this in kilograms. Okay, I've got a video to show you here of the grip test. And here we go.
Ideally, this ring finger, or fourth proximal interphalangeal joint, should be bent to 90 degrees. Rotating the dial adjusts the grip distance. Have the client hold the dynamometer in line with the body with their arms slightly abducted. Tell them to concentrate on a spot on the wall and that they should exhale while they squeeze. Make sure the instrument is reset to 0 and tell them to go ahead and squeeze as hard as possible. The squeeze should last about 3 seconds. Neither the hand nor the dynamometer should touch anything.
So there you can see a very probably not appropriately dressed sportsman, but there's how to complete the hand grip dynamometer. So as you saw there, squeeze tightly for 3 seconds and you can have 3 attempts at getting your score. Of course, we'll just go back to of course, think about the validity and reliability of that test. It only tests the forearm or perhaps the biceps and triceps. It goes up as far as that, but predominantly the forearm of that person. So if you were asking how much strength does, again, if we use a weightlifter, they need the power in their legs, they need the strength in their legs. Well, the grip dynamometer doesn't really test that. So think of the reliability and validity. If you're looking for a boxer and you might ask for the strength in their arms, then the grip dynamometer might be a little more reliable and valid for that one. Okay, so the next test will be probably the most popular, I think, especially amongst all sports. I certainly, as a football player, used to do the Illinois agility test on a regular basis. It tests the agility, which is the speed in which you can change direction. You start off by marking out the course to the exact measurements required, and we'll go into details with the next video in terms of the measurements in the Illinois agility test. The participant starts in a face down lying position, so in a press up position. In other words, sometimes you can get people sat in a crunch position on the back side, or you can lay on your back, or just from a standing position. But as long as there's consistency amongst the group or the class, and that's the most important thing to get accurate results. And you ensure accuracy of timing with 2 timers at the finish line, and it's measured in seconds. So again, I'm just going to flip through to an agility one. Here's a quick 30-second clip.
4 cones are also placed down the center, each 3.3 meters apart. You start the assessment, run to the far line that is marked by the cone at 10 meters and back to the cone at the center. Continue through the course by weaving up through the center cones and then back down, retracing your path. Once you get back to the center cone, you run to the far line on the right of the center cones, turn, and finish up straight through the starting line. Common errors when performing this test include the athlete performing a full turnaround at the turning points, as well as only hovering your hand above the line. Another common error is changing direction before you reach the line, missing it completely.
So as you can see on the screen there, there's a couple of different positions you can start off with. On that video as well, you can see that the athlete only went to the line, whereas we would ask students to go right around the cone all the way back down to the bottom, okay? But there's just an example of how the agility test is set up in terms of the distance and the measurements for the Illinois test. Okay, so cardiovascular endurance, or cardiovascular fitness as we know it, is the multi-stage fitness test. Now, that is a course of 20 meters. Participants must arrive at the end of the line on the beep or wait for the beep before running back. Participants must run until total exhaustion prevents the completion of 2 or 3 shuttles, and it's measured in the number of shuttle runs completed, and then it's converted into meters. Actually, we use now, we convert it into meters. But what we look at here is the students or performers or athletes being able to run over a long period of time without taking a break. So it gradually gets faster and faster and faster. And of course, the distance stays the same between the shuttles, but the speed increases. Now we're going to move on to flexibility. And I think I'm right in saying that there's a video for flexibility. But flexibility, you start off by, of course, sitting upright with your legs straight against the box or a wall or a bench. You can keep your knees completely locked and reach forward with one hand on top of the other. It's important that when you stretch, your arms are straight and there's no leaning with one arm as opposed to the other. So it's really important to get a valid and accurate result that your arms and legs stay straight. This test is measured in centimeters. If you just bear with me 1 sec. Okay, if we look at one more before I just introduce the limitations of fitness testing, and this is speed, which is the 30-meter sprint test. You start off by marking out a 30-meter distance on an even, firm surface, and participant takes a rolling start so that they are running at full speed as they hit the start line. It's important that they ensure accurate timing by using 2 timers, and you find that this happens a lot in the timed events, so agility test, the speed test, the multi-stage fitness test. 2 timers are required at all times. So if you're in a class, try and get 2 of your students, or a teacher and a student, whatever it is, try and get 2 timers going at once. And this is usually measured, it is always measured in seconds. Okay, so if we just pause for a second and we want to talk about the limitations of fitness testing, this is where you can get some really big marks on your GCSE exams. So they talk about, well, you need to just talk about the benefits and more importantly, the disadvantages and limitations of the tests. So some fitness tests are too specific, and we spoke about the hand grip dynamometer test. It's too specific to that one part of the body, as opposed to the whole body. It doesn't test the whole strength that you can exert. Some tests do not replicate real sporting movements or challenges, and are therefore too generic. So if we just take this one, for example, the 30-meter sprint test, well, that's a really accurate test for sprinting over a short distance. If we were looking at speed of a cricket player, the speed they can generate with their arm movement, well, I don't think the 30-meter sprint test is going to really help too much with that. So just, again, try and relate the fitness test to a sporting example and make sure it's valid and it's reliable, okay? So how can you replicate real sporting movements from that test? Fitness tests do not replicate the competitive environment of the sport. So again, 30-meter sprint, you might have a student or an athlete that can run 30 meters in a hall extremely quick, but what are they like when they're out on a running track, a windy day with 10 people running alongside them, and there's maybe even a crowd of people, or there's pressure because there's something at stake, whether it's a medal or just it's a competition environment, so a competitive environment. So having that replication of a competitive environment of the sport is really important. Then some fitness tests do not use a direct measurement, but instead use a prediction. So for the vertical jump and the standing jump, you know exactly what score you're getting because of the score that you get, whether it's distance, whatever measurement you get. However, some will predict a score, so it's really important that you do measure accurately when you're doing these tests. And then the final thing to look at would be fitness tests carried out using the wrong protocols. So again, if we were to use the speed test, whether they use 30 meters and measure that out correctly, or if we looked at the sit and reach test, whether they are working with straight legs and straight arms as opposed to bending and, in effect, breaking the rules, shall we say. And then quickly, just for the last minute, we want to look at power, which is vertical jump test. Participant stands sideways onto the wall and measures height with an upstretched arm. Participant jumps as high as possible and marks wall at peak of the jump on 3 occasions, and that's measured in centimeters. And I think there might be 2 more. We've got balance, which is the standing stalk test. Again, we spoke about this, and I tried to do a demonstration a few weeks ago, but failed miserably. This is where the participant places their hand on the hips and 1 foot on the side of the knee, and they're trying to see how long they can hold themselves there for, and that's tested in minutes and seconds. Perfect. Nish, if you could put me back onto the screen, please.
All right. Cool.
So there are all the fitness tests that you need to know for your GCSE exams. There was 10 that we covered today. If you can just make sure that you remember how to link the fitness tests to an sporting example, talking about the validity and reliability of each test. And on Thursday, I'll see you for more PE, where we'll be talking about methods of training. Have a good day.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, buddy. So enjoy that triathlon that you're going to spend the rest of the day in. So could do a triathlon if it involved the bath instead of a swimming pool, the stairs instead of a treadmill. Yeah, that's about as good as I'm going to get, buddy.
I wish I was only as athletic as you make me out to be.
Hey, buddy, if you ever run a kilometre, then you're my sporting hero. So yeah, well done. It's a lot of people do way better than me. Thank you so much, Nish. Are you going to do any of those fitness tests, Nish?
I keep on saying I want to try, and then I don't, because I just think I'd embarrass myself. But I do. I want to try. I've seen this worksheet and I want to try.
I've seen the video. I feel healthy enough.
The sit and reach test is always quite fun. There's no moving really.
There we go. That one. Give me a go on that one, buddy. No problem. Sit and reach. Long limbs. They'll come in useful. All right. Have a great day, Sam. And Nish, it's all over you to lead us out.
All right. Cool. So here's the optional PE task. Students and parents get involved because this is just a bit of fun as well. It is it's a worksheet with fitness tests on. They all look very nice on this worksheet, if I can show you. So you can try them. Sit and reach one, that's what we're all going to do.
Wow.
So they have different ones on here. If you've missed out on any videos, you can catch up on Facebook and on YouTube. This video will be on there too with any links. All the other resources to any of the other videos are there as well. Up next, we have science.
Oh yes, Mr. Michael Scott is back in the house, isn't he?
Yep.
Brilliant. All right. Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you so much, Nish. Thank you all for tuning in. And please don't forget to share on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and all the other things that I'm probably not aware of which there are probably thousands. Have a great 20 minutes. Enjoy the task, and we'll see you